Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So, the way that this works is I'll ask you some questions, you'll give me some answers. I encourage you to go off script if that's what you want to do. I like to have
Sure.
random, stories and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll transcribe it and put it in print for the, in your case, the um, June edition. And
June
then
edition. Okay.
later that month, I'll put the audio on the YouTube page.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start here. What's your name and where are you?
My name is Aaron Williams. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama.
Is that where you were born?
I was actually born in a small town that's kind of south of Birmingham called Bessemer. But it's where I've lived most of my adult life.
I see. Um, well, what's the name of your project or projects?
The main one that I do is called the Slippery Dish. Um, and then I also make kind of ambient music under the name Erin Aine, which is my like chosen name. Um,
Could you spell that?
and ErinAine.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that's your
and
ambient project.
that's my yeah, that's the one that's more kind of spacey. Not really. It doesn't have a I don't know. I guess like a beat to it ever really. It's more just kind of mood music.
And the slippery dish, how would you describe it?
Um, I guess I would say it's like experimental electronic music. It's basically me fucking around on FL Studio as much as I possibly can.
Hell yeah.
Um, I yeah, I am basically trying to make music the way that Brian Eno described himself as an amateur. That's my like guiding principle. I'm just like, yeah, I don't really know how to play an instrument well, but I can use this recording technology to just record whatever the fuck I want and just smash it together however I want to. Sometimes it comes out with, listenable results.
And those are your only two projects you plan?
Yeah, well, no, wait. Sorry, I'm forgetting that. So I used to be in Subhymnal, but I've quit Subhymnal for the time being. But I've also started another project called Petrochronic.
Mm.
We have played one show, and we're working on some stuff, but right now me and the other member of that group, Joan Mills, are currently still doing our solo side projects for a lot of things. So we're still trying to get together the, I guess, program for that group.
And have you played much around Birmingham?
Yeah, I've played at most of the venues where you can get away with playing like experimental music. Uh, Pretty much the divey places, the DIY places, the places that will like occasionally have like a an open mic that they won't, you know, boot you out for not being a person with a guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just whatever I can find, really.
Okay, and so what's your approach to like writing a song with a slippery dish? Like, how do you normally start it?
Um, I usually start it by like finding a just some sound that I like, and then just building the song around the sound. Sometimes it's like I'll find a pattern on a piece of equipment that I'm working with that sounds really nice, or I'll find I don't know, like a clip or a sound effect. I also have kind of a large library of like ambient recordings now because I've been doing film recording for about 13 or 14 years now.
Oh wow.
And so I have all of these like clips from movies that I've worked on and just stuff that I've recorded on set and just all kinds of different weird sound effects that I can like take and drop into the software and like chop it up in a way that it kind of sounds rhythmic and gives me like a bass to build other things on. So a lot of times that's all I'm doing is I'm just like noticing a thing that sounds nice and I'm like I want to put that into my DAW and just see where it goes. See if I can actually like build something interesting on top of it.
Hell yeah. So do you so tell me about this film work that you do.
So I actually went to school at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and I majored in narrative film production. And I was like, the way we were doing it there was we don't have like a uniform film major, and I think they still don't. I think the professor who was kind of championing it retired. Um, but we were kind of the first class to come through there who wanted to actively like study film. So we had to do like individually designed majors and we basically had to just create the curriculum ourselves
Hmm.
for what anybody coming after us was going to do. And I guess they just dropped a lot of the classes that they have now, but I was actually the one who was like, we need to include recording technology as part of the curriculum so that people have some knowledge of sound and like editing sound and like how to work with that stuff because it's something that kind of gets forgotten in a lot of film classes like how to work with actual sound equipment and stuff because most of the time when you're shooting stuff in college like the sound equipment is pretty rudimentary
Right.
if you're not at like USC or NYU or something it's like here's a recorder push record on the button and hold the microphone near the person like that's about all you learn
Hmm.
and so I was like teach me something about how to EQ and teach me teach me something about what microphones have different pickup patterns and all this stuff and I really wanted it was like I was curious because I think I was that was like the early stages of the slippery dish music project where it truly was me just like figuring out how to use FL Studio and that was basically what it was and I wanted to make music for movies so I was just like teach me how the sound recording stuff works so that I can better facilitate that but then it also crossed over into me getting like gigs on films because I had actually like the way that I got my first film gig doing sound was I was hired as a PA and they were like you're the only person besides the sound mixer who has held a boom microphone before so you're the boom operator now and from there it just that was what I springboarded into working on movies from it was just like that was my only qualification
Nice.
um,
That's
so yeah, I mean, you can build a career off of anything. Like being able to hold your arms over your head for a while is something you can build a career on.
I guess it's a couple different careers. Like if you're like doing chin ups at the Olympics, or like
Yeah. Who knows? That could lead
a waiter.
anywhere, you know? Yeah, it actually had it did help. I had a job in a restaurant for about 5 years,
Uh huh.
and I was like a food runner for the tables, and it was like it really helped in that environment, like being able to hold trays.
That's it.
Uh,
You've
uh,
achieved the skill of being able to hold your arms up a long time.
yep, yep.
Nice. So
Uh,
so have you worked on your own films, or do you mostly work on other people's?
I have made some short films. I have them up on YouTube. I'm
You
trying
know
to remember what.
The address?
I, yeah, my YouTube page I think is just Erin Aine now. Um,
So like
but I
youtube.com
would I
slash
would
at Erin Aine.
well, I don't know if it's at Erin Aine. I think it might be at something else. I'm trying to remember now, like what I. Sorry, my cat is.
You can give it to me
She's
after
got the
this,
Zoom.
and I'll put it in.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you. Um,
So do you?
sorry, my cat has the zoomies right now, and she is like terrassing around the house.
What's the name of your cat?
That's Fifi.
Fifi.
She's our derpy little calico, and I have two cats actually. I have Fifi and Indy,
Aw.
and Indy's being a lot more chill right now, but
Good job,
they're
Indy.
probably about to have a little. Oh, there they go. Now they're fighting.
You felt they were winding up, like how cats wind up
Yeah,
for a fight.
yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
two cut it out. Cut it out.
So
Yeah.
do you have any a quote unquote albums with the Slippery Dish?
Yeah, gosh, I've released five or six now, I think. I've done kind of um a little bit of a weird like release structure with some of the stuff that I've done. Like the first two albums that I made were, like kind of normal. It was just like here's a bunch of songs I worked on. I put them together with kind of a rough structure of some sort of like thematic tie, but not necessarily like concept album level of thematic ties.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did my like yeah, it's six albums and one live recording that I did for a Labor Day thing that they were having. But the albums three through five were basically like all released at the same time, and it was like three separate modes that I had been working in. So like there's one called Electric Sludge, which is just kind of like beats focused. I just it was like I took the drum machine that I had and I had just gotten my first distortion pedal. And so it's all like the drum machine with the distortion pedal on it. And it's this big kind of like sludgy, almost like hip hop kind of beats. But it's not solely that. There's a lot of like ambient stuff that I added to it and everything. And then there's some that are a little bit different, I would say, like stylistically. There's one that almost sounds kind of like I don't know what you would call it exactly. It's almost like blues in a
Okay.
way, but that one is all beats focused, and then there's one called Everything Is Mass, which is like ambient drone, but it's all these different weird sounds that I pulled out of like putting extreme amounts of delay on things, and that one is like functionally about um if it's about anything, it's like an ambient drone album. So who could even extrapolate from that? But it's kind of about the place that I grew up, and it's about these weird little like traumas that I had in my childhood. There was a NASCAR driver that I really loved named Davey Allison, and I actually got to meet him at one point. 'Cause
Cool.
him and his brothers and his father were all like very famous drivers, and they all lived in the like right near the town that I grew up in. So they were kind of like local heroes in a way. And then he died flying his helicopter to Talladega one year.
Oh shit.
Um, and it was just like a traumatic experience that I kind of never recovered from on the front of like I like don't care at all about NASCAR now.
Uh huh.
Um, but I did for a little while he was alive, and then it was like after he died, it was this weird kind of like I don't know. It was just like this pulling away of this thing that had been so like important to me, and I was just like I can't
Oh man.
I'm going to compartmentalize that trauma and not think about it. And then later, like coming back to it, I'm like, wow, it was really weird that that was like such a thing that I was into, and then suddenly it was just not anymore. Mm.
I mean, it sounds
Yeah,
like
and
it
then
really hit you.
I mean, you think about it more in like, I don't know, like hindsight kind of, because it's like at the time when you're a little kid, you don't really think about the world like that, but then later on you're like, oh yeah, that did like really deeply affect me, and I don't think I had ever like dealt with it, or I don't think and I'm sure my parents like consoled me about it and talked to me about it or stuff like that, but I don't remember any of that. So it's just kind of a weird,
Hmm.
sort of like ethereal trauma that's floating around in my brain.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel that. Like when I was in high school, I just started doing drugs at some point, and only later did I put together that it was like 1 week after I found out my stepfather and my mom were getting divorced. Like, but
mm,
I just
mm.
never put it together. It was just like two independent events.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it,
absolutely. Yeah, it's like a lot of times you just don't have the language or the understanding of the way the world works, when you're a very young person, until later, and you can kind of like map the events of
right,
your life and be
exactly.
like, oh, right,
It,
okay, I see what was going on there.
it suddenly makes a lot more sense. Why it happened
Yeah,
in that particular way at that particular time.
yeah,
So
absolutely. But yeah, and the last album in that little like triptych that I released, was called Alter, and that one was a little more kind of, it's the way that I usually make stuff, where it's like I find a sound and I build around the sound. Um, but that one also was kind of, I think it actually got reviewed in Y'all's magazine at one point. But that one was the one where I kind of started to move more toward like ambient stuff, and I
hmm
I didn't have a separate ambient project at that time, so I was just including everything that I came out with
yeah,
under the Slippery Dish umbrella. And at that point, I think I was like, I just want to make this a whole separate thing, because I guess I was thinking about it in terms of like algorithm or whatever. It's like if somebody clicks on I don't know, the like, um listen to the discography thing
hmm
on, Bandcamp or Spotify or something like that, and then like halfway through like some of the songs playing, it's just like, and now it's just like three tracks that are all ambient drone, and I'm like, that would be kind of jarring, I guess, if
I can see
if
that.
they were to come up like that. But I think I was thinking about it like that at the time, but now I'm just like, it is kind of fun to work in different modes, sort of like visualize yourself as a different being when you're working in those modes. So it's like, I don't know, it is that same kind of like compartmentalization of like, this is this is part of my life, this is part of my life. And it's like, those things can overlap and meld a little bit, but I also want them to be distinct, because I want, to express those parts of my personality and identity, um, you know, just in ways that, people can understand better.
Okay, I got you.
Mm.
So, are you working on anything now?
Um, yeah, I feel like I'm always like working on something, honestly. I've been trying to do a little experiment where I just do kind of, I guess it's like live drumming, but it's not with actual drums. It's just me like pounding on various, surfaces and different. I have all these like little noisemakers that I keep around. And so like sometimes I will just add in a little bit of like live, like me banging on a wood block or
Hell
like
yeah.
a shaker or something like that, just as like, um an a little like extra thing in a track. But now I'm trying to build like whole tracks out of that kind of thing. And I know it I think it reminds me a little of like kind of like Dead Can Dance type stuff where I'm also like layering voice stuff on top of it. So it's like here's this, sort of like rudimentary rhythmic repetition with voice over the top of it and like, kind of like trying to make the singing sound as big as possible by like layering voices on top of each other and having each one have its own kind of uh, ebb and flow.
And this is under the slippery dish.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that's what it's going to be under. I Yeah, because I just put out the last Erin Aine album that I did, Relic, and that one was actually another kind of experiment in that vein where I brought in other musicians and I basically was like, create for me a bridge from one song to the next. So I would give them these little couplets of songs
Oh wow,
and I would be like, give me just the connective piece here. And
I
so
like
I
that.
did that with various people. I got my mom to play piano on one of the tracks. But yeah, I got some people using like different instrumentation than I usually use. I got a friend of mine to play guitar and like cymbals and stuff like that on it. And I usually don't really have like traditional what you would think of as like rock band instruments on a lot of my stuff just because I don't own them and I'm also not good at playing them.
Hmm.
So I typically stick to electronic things.
That makes sense to me. I avoid, in particular, trap drum sets and electric guitars, just because I feel like it's. I want to do something um, relatively new, and I feel like it's really, really hard to do something new with those things.
Yeah, yeah, it does get a little, and I think that's what I'm running into now in my music, where it's like it's not just that I couldn't find new ways of working with it. It's just that the sounds themselves don't, nothing like jumps out at you anymore about it because you're like, this sounds well too much like the thing I did before,
Hmm.
even if it's not necessarily exactly the same. It's like I don't know, I crave some kind of sound that's gonna inspire me to like move in a new direction.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I agree.
yeah.
So I think I'm going to finish up with three questions.
Okay.
Um, the first question is there anything you'd like to promote?
Um, well, yeah, I guess my two latest releases that are released this year, Relic, the Erin Aine album, and then um, I'm trying to remember what the name of my stupid slippery dish album is. Oh, Folk is what it's called. Um,
Where can you
I thought
find
it
them?
was um, they're on Bandcamp, at the Slippery Dish on Bandcamp or Erin Aine on Bandcamp. And they're also still on Spotify. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out a different, like, good place for people to find them that I can host them because I don't really want to be
Right.
associated with Spotify anymore. But unfortunately, it's the only place that will let you like gain money from like free accounts streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. Nothing else ever shows any like uh actual like monetary residuals on my distro kids. So
Mm.
I'm like, well, unless I could get people to start slowly buying stuff on Bandcamp or something, I'm gonna figure something out. I don't know. I'm sure like a solution always presents itself, like even if it's like piracy, which I'm like greatly in favor of. I'm just like, yeah, sure. Like I can figure out some sort of like duct tape and chewing gum method to like get around the barrier to entry of like actually having stuff stream and like it generating money or whatever. But we'll see where that goes.
All right. Question number two. What is most important?
What is most important?
Yeah,
just like in general?
that's the question. Yeah.
I would say honestly, like the thing that I've found most important to me personally is just curiosity. I find that I like gravitate a lot toward people who are just like more curious about the world, who like don't feel like they have it figured out, who seem like they're searching for something. And like, you know, I don't even know if like finding the answer to that is necessarily that important. I think it's just the thing that always animates me into actually like wanting to do new stuff in my life and to like in a way like continue living my life every day. I'm just like I am curious about this and that and whatever else and like it's it's like the reason that I get up in the morning. It's like I want to learn something new. I want to like figure stuff out. I want to, you know, find stuff that will give me a big picture, a context on, the world and the universe and life and whatever.
Excellent. And final question is there anything you were hoping to say that I didn't ask you about? And if so, please go ahead.
Um, Hoping to say, I don't know. I think, gosh, I think, oh, I will say I did let you know that I was like kind of wiped out from working
Yeah?
last night. And I was out until like 7:30 a.m. in Tuscaloosa. I was a stagehand for the cleanup there was like a big Morgan Wallen concert in Tuscaloosa at the football stadium, and we had to like break down the whole stage, and it's like the hardest work that I've done in a long time. But it was like, I'm kind of slumming it, like doing stagehand work right now because there's not a lot of film work in Birmingham at the moment. And that's my like primary source of income. But um, it was like union work that we were doing, so it was all like with the local 78 here in Birmingham, the like stagehands union.
Nice.
But normally I'm a 479 member of the union that governs Atlanta and Birmingham for film professionals.
All right.
So yeah, solidarity forever, union strong.
Cool. Um, all right. Well, with that, I'd just like to thank you for agreeing to do the interview.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope you have a good evening.
All right, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.